Hey everyone, welcome. Thanks for waiting. I am Clay Emo. I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary live, CCC live, 10 p.m. on Thursday night, April the 8th. Thanks for waiting. And right away, I want to give a shout out to my Hall of Fame members, Jens95, simalexander, Just Incredible, nucksfan number 29, and Lucas Gates. Thanks for your support, and thanks to the support of all the members of all levels. You are listed in my video description. If you want to become a member of the CCC Crew, simply press the join button underneath this video, underneath any of my videos, or on the memberships tab on my YouTube channel. Just before, that's why I was a couple minutes late. Just before I came on here, I actually recorded my new membership video with my expanded perks. So if you, we're up to 32 members now, which is awesome. I noticed a couple people drop off at the end of the month and then they remember that they want to renew, which is good. So we're at 32. Would love to get to 35 by the end of this month. And also the subscriber count is slowly growing in the 6,000s, which is awesome. So thank you for that. So if you're new here, I'm going to talk for about 8 or 10 minutes first. So hold all your questions until I ask you for your questions. But if you're new here, I usually do questions only just to make sure that I can keep up. But I have a few things that I want to say, a couple things I want to get off my chest, good things, and we will go from there. So right away, subscribe. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, like this video. I like at least 50% of views in the likes, so viewers I should say. So if there's 22 people in here, I want 11 likes. Okay, that works out well then. So hopefully we get more viewers and then we get more likes as well. And right away I want to thank the mods, and I'm going to give you an extended thank you in a second. So moderators, thank you in advance. I want to thank the sponsor of all my live streams, Monkey 9 Brewing. You'll see them on the screen there. Wonderful brew pub in Richmond. 10% off all takeout for the month of April. And they've been so generous in sponsoring all these streams, which is pretty cool. And then I want to thank all of you, no matter where you are, whether you are in my beautiful neighborhood of Steveston and Richmond, in the city, in the Lower Mainland, in the province, in the country, or around the world, on the continent. I forgot the continent, people, or around the world. I thank you for being here. I know you could be watching anyone else, doing anything else, and I certainly do not take you for granted. So thank you for being here, and thank you for spending some of your time, your Thursday night, with me. And like I always say, usually when I say after the Canucks win, I say like this video because the Canucks won and we can talk about it. After the Canucks lose, which unfortunately has been a lot this season, I'll say don't like the fact that the Canucks lost, but like the fact that we can talk about it. But tonight, let's like the fact that this is the first time in a week that there's been no new positive COVID cases on the Canucks. That's reason to celebrate, probably because everyone else, almost everyone has it already. So you're running out of guys that can get it, but still, that was a positive sign. So give this video a like if you like the fact that there wasn't a positive test result for the first time in a little while. Okay, I am gonna chat for about the next 5 or 6 minutes, and then I will turn it over to you. So everyone, hold your questions until then. Nice to see some familiar people in here, and nice to see some new people. And I'm just giggling looking at some of the comments in there. Okay. Before I get to the Tanner Pearson thing, first and foremost, you guys know that you were here on Tuesday night and you saw the unfortunate incident that happened at the end of the stream, where one person wrote a couple, a racist name trying to be funny, and then spammed it 10 or 12 times. Then we booted that person out. A second person came on, said the exact same thing. Maybe the same person, booted them out. And the third person came on and said the same thing, booted them out. So I've done a few things. Firstly, I've enabled slow mode. So for those of you that like to go repeated questions or repeated answers or repeated whatever, I've actually put a 15-second time gap between messages from the same person. So I hope that makes sense. You guys are pretty smart, pretty mature. So I'm sure that you don't need to be writing 2 messages in the span of 15 seconds. But if you do, you have to wait 15 seconds. And for the rest of us, it just helps the moderators out. Secondly, I want to thank all of the moderators. You're doing it on your own time. Some of you guys asked me to be a moderator, which is cool. Some of you, I just made you a moderator because I trust you. That's cool. But I want to thank all of you. I know I thank you at the start. I thank you at the end. When I I'll be honest. When it was happening, I was frustrated, annoyed. No, I wasn't annoyed, or I was annoyed at the people of what was happening, but I certainly wasn't annoyed at the moderators. But I made a comment during the live stream, and I know I made a comment on the next day during my vlog where it may have sounded like I was ungrateful to you moderators. And what I said was, I don't think the moderators did their best job. And the reason why I said that is because I ended up deleting 2 of the 3 people. And which is fine. I can do that too, but I prefer not to. But I also recognize it was at the tail end of the stream. I wouldn't be surprised if all of you were dozing off or checking out, and that's probably why these people thought they were smart and tried to get in at the end of the stream when kind of things were a little winding down and maybe people weren't paying as much attention. So, no, Dexter, you don't have to apologize. I apologize if I offended anyone on that night by making it seem like I was ungrateful, or if anyone saw my vlog from the next day where I was talking about the incident, and if you ever felt that I was ungrateful, I apologize to you, and you guys know how grateful I am to you, and I think that goes without saying. That's that. The biggest thing overall, it's kind of funny. I almost felt bad that I didn't get more offended. And hear me out. You guys know me well enough, and I'll talk very honestly. I'm a big boy. I'm 46 years old. I'm a man. I'm 46 years old, and I've heard a lot worse. I've experienced a lot worse. So when that came out in the chat, it actually, honestly, and this is what I expressed, it didn't offend me. It didn't offend me personally, Clay Emo, Canuck Clay. It didn't offend me. But it certainly was offensive. It was an offensive remark, and I wouldn't blame anyone if they were offended by that. And we can't condone, we can't advocate, we can't encourage that type of behavior. So all to say, you guys know that I can't watch the chat all the time, especially when I'm talking like this and trying to make good eye contact with the camera as opposed to like this the whole time. So moderators, I trust you. I appreciate you. And for everyone that reached out, I thank you. Some of you reached out publicly. Some of you reached out privately. Some of you have my cell number. Some of you have my Instagram, my Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Thank you. And I did a quick 2-minute vlog about it on Twitter the next day. And I wasn't trying to sound like the hero or trying to sound like Mr. Macho or Mr. Tough Skin or whatever. I just said, I actually wasn't offended. It was offensive, yes, but I wasn't offended. But I was so overwhelmed by the support of other hockey YouTubers like Parker, like Steve Dangle, like Melody Martin, like Alyssa Hope. People were reaching out. Nathan Gravite reached out, and Nyquist reached out. So a lot of people reached out both publicly and privately, and I was so appreciative. I had Matt Securis retweet the video. I had Thomas Drance reaching out to me, and other people like that, which was unexpected. Satya Shah, but I was very grateful to them. And then normal people that aren't YouTubers or aren't media people, I had those people reach out to me as well. So I'm very grateful. I was okay. I'm okay talking about it. I was more stunned. If you guys were here with me on Tuesday night, I was more stunned and a little bit more annoyed than offended. But I do appreciate everyone that took the time to reach out both privately and publicly. Matt Securis even retweeted my video, which is nice. So now it's got up 15,000 views on Twitter, which is nice. It's not about the numbers, but at least there's that many people at least watching the video and hearing what I had to say. Okay, last thing. I'm going to talk about Tanner Pearson for about 2 or 3 minutes, then turn it over to you. Then I'm going to save my big announcement for the end of the stream, or at least closer to the end. I think some of you may know about it already, which is fine by me, fine by us. Okay. Tanner Pearson, 3 years, average AAV, average annual value of $3.25 million. The reason that it works out like that, 9.75 total, because next season he's going to make 2.5 cash. The second season it's 3 million. The third season is 2.75. You're saying, Clay, that's only 8.25. How does that get up to 9.75? Because on July 1, 2023, at the start of his third year, there's also $1.5 million signing bonus. You add the 1.5 to the 8.25. Now it's $9.75 million. Divide by 3, $3.25 million a year. You're saying, Clay, why did they do it that way? Well, think, if you're cash strapped and you're not sure what revenue is going to look like even next year, or you're still trying to recover from this year, from a true cash outlay, it's 2.5 next year, low, basically as low as you can probably go with this deal, 3 million, And then the last year is 2.75 plus 1.5. Technically, think of cash of 4.25 in the third year. That gives the Aquilini family, that gives the Canucks some time to get some more revenues, to get some more cash sources. So the average for the books is 3.25 million, but in actual cash payment to Pearson, it's actually 2.5, 3, then 4.25, and that's what gets you your 9.75. Trade protection. There's a handshake agreement that he will be protected in the Seattle expansion draft, but it's not written into his contract. But now add him to the list of forwards that I've been talking about that you will protect. But then he's got a no trade for year one. He's got a modified no trade, 7 teams he can't go to in year 2. And then in his third year, absolutely no trade protection. A couple people asked me, well, do I think the Canucks just signed him so they can turn around and flip him at this trade deadline 4 days from now? Although that would be a juicy story, I doubt it. Everything that we've seen and heard from Jim Benning really likes this player. So I'll quickly talk about the good things about Tanner Pearson. Then I'll talk about some of the challenges, and then I will turn it over to you. The people that like this deal, and there aren't many, but the reason why Jim Benning did this is, remember, they lost veterans like Markstrom, Tanev, and Toffoli, and they took a lot of heat for that. So I think one thing you're getting is a proven leader in Tanner Pearson, a Stanley Cup winner. You're getting probably the most low-maintenance player on the roster. You never hear him complain, so that's a good thing. So leader, veteran, low maintenance. On the actual ice, he's got a decent hands. He's a good goal scorer. Not afraid to go to the front of the net. Wins his puck battles. You can trust him on the power play. You can trust him penalty killing. You can trust him to protect a lead. So there's about 9 or 10 good things I talked about Tanner Pearson. Basically, you keep him on the second line. You could see the same top 2 lines next year as you do this year, with the Lotto line and then Horvat, Pearson, and Hoglander. And what that means is you don't have to rush Podkolzin up. You can start Podkolzin on the 3rd or 4th line and let him work his way up, let him get acclimated. Now, the Canucks didn't have that luxury with Niels Hoglander because their right wing depth was no good. So that's why they had to put Hoglander on the second line. And Hoglander impressed in training camp. But you could see where Pearson could start on the second line, and maybe Podkolzin supplants Pearson halfway through the season. We shall see. So there's that as well. Okay. Now, a lot of people don't like this deal because they said, man, that's 3 years. That's $3 million a year that we can give to other players. That's true. Man, this is not going to be a good contract in the second or even the third year of the contract. It's kind of exactly like Roussel and Beagle. That could be true. But there's nothing that's saying that Pearson is going to drop off. He is a streaky player for sure. He's inconsistent at times, but when he's on, he's on. So I think that's the kind of, if you're looking for a positive spin, that's the spin you got to put on it. Now, as I've vlogged about many times and talked about, it's kind of weird. Demko made sense. He's part of it. You need a good goalie, you need a good defenseman, you need a good center. You probably know where I'm going with this. But then you sign a middle 6 winger ahead of Pettersson and Hughes. So Pettersson and Hughes, obviously the big priorities for this summer. Now that's $3 million, technically a year less that you can give to those guys. There's got to be a lot of other roster moves. And as Thomas Drance tweeted out, between trades, between buyouts, and between leveraging their positions in the Seattle expansion draft, there's a lot of creative things that Jim Benning and the management team has to do. But do we have the confidence that they are going to be able to do so? So we can talk about the Tanner Pearson trade, but those are some quick thoughts. I try to be as neutral as I can. But yes, I know the majority of people do not like the deal, and I get it. Lastly, and then I will turn it over to you. I'm not saying that Canucks are going to make the playoffs, okay? I'm not saying that at all. But Montreal has finally caught up to the Canucks in games played. And this is with the Canucks being out for 2 weeks already. Finally, the Montreal is caught up, 37 games apiece. You could say the 8-point difference, you could say, man, that's massive. There's no way the Canucks are going to win 4 more times than Montreal in the last 19 games, given that they're coming back. They might not be healthy. And we know that, and I talked about this last time, the 4 teams that have had massive COVID layoffs, Dallas, Philly, Buffalo, New Jersey, they're all struggling. They're all out of a playoff spot right now. So there's nothing to say that the Canucks are going to come back like gangbusters. But we at least are tied in games now, and we see the math. The math makes sense. It might not be good math, but we can at least see, okay, we've played the same amount of games. Now we need to somehow make up 8 points if we want to make the 4th playoff spot. Now, granted, by the time the Canucks start playing again, which might be not till April 17 against Toronto, Montreal will have played another 3 or 4 games. Montreal's lost 3 of the last 4. They could continue to slide. And then who knows? We could come back with 3 or 4 games in hand and only be still 8 points back. And then it gets a little more funky. But I'm 0%. No, not 0%. I'm not saying the Canucks are going to make the playoffs. I don't think they'll be able to, given the state and health of their players. But I admit Montreal's gap could have been 10, 12, 14, 16 points by this point, and it's only at 8. Okay, I went for 10 minutes longer than I wanted to, but I wanted to address the whole Stop Asian Hate thing. I wanted to thank the moderators and make sure that you guys know that I certainly didn't blame you and don't take you for granted. I wanted to give some thoughts on Pearson. I wanted to give some thoughts on Montreal, kind of fluttering a little bit. So, fluttering, whatever word you want to use. So now let's go questions only for the next, let's say, half an hour or so. Then I'll make my big announcement, and I'm going to catch up and read all your comments a little bit later. But I know you guys have been chatting a lot in the comments already, which is good, which is really good. Beast Mode just says, what do you think of the Pearson re-signing? Beast Mode, I'm not sure you just came on, but I just spent 4 minutes talking about it, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but I'll just say I see where the Canucks are coming from, but I don't think it was the best move, but maybe he's got 2 or 3 more good seasons in him. Fangirl Clay, if this COVID outbreak happened towards the beginning of the season, would fans still be wanting the team shut down for the season? No. If this outbreak happened at the start of the season, then it's a completely different ball game because the Canucks wouldn't be where they are in the standings right now. So I think it's a completely different circumstance, but it would be just as unfortunate for sure. Avash, hey Clay, hope you're doing well. Thank you. I am. I hope you are well as well. Didn't originally think it was that serious, but Beagle apparently could be on the LTIR for next season as well. Do you think Ferland and him both... Yeah, don't play next year. I don't know the nature of Beagle's injury, but that frees up another $3 million. So with Ferland's 3.5, that's 6.5 now on LTIR. I don't think Ferland's going to play again. Beagle, I think I need to know more about the injury, to be honest with you. Noah, I'm doing great. Hope you're well as well. Sorry about what happened last stream. No problem, Noah. I'm a big boy. I can handle it, and I think we moved on pretty good, despite the fact that I talked about it for 6 minutes or so. Marcus, do you think we should sign Emil Pettersson for next season? I don't know enough about his game, to be honest. I'll have to look him up, Marcus, but I wouldn't sign him just for the sake of signing a sibling. Same reason I use for Luke Hughes, but we'll see. Nice to see John in here. That's great. I saw a lot of people actually that I can't say hi to everyone. There's 60 of you in here, which is awesome. Thank you. Just incredible. I think Pearson is valid insurance in a bounce back year. 28 years isn't over the hill. Yep. Provides connection option in case Puck Colton isn't ready to step in. That's fair. Cole, how much longer before we play would you guess? There are rumors. There's talk that it might be April 17. So a week from Saturday, 9 days from here. ParkersPucks. How many holes are in a straw? Well, I'm going with at least 2. Just like, do you have hole in your pants? No, I don't. Well, how do you get your legs in? Mark, with Tanner contract signed, who do you think goes? I think Sutter, Ben are all gone for sure, and I think they're gonna have to move. You know, they could move Jake. He's making 2.5 next year. That frees up a little money. But the writing is on the wall. They're going to have to be very creative and very aggressive in the offseason just to even sign to field a full team next season under the salary cap for sure. Avash, with Pearson now needing to be protected, who do you think is added to the player pool for Seattle? Yeah, great question, Avash. I've always said it was going to be Besser, Horvat, Pettersson, and Miller. And then I put Mott as the 5th, right? And now is Pearson as the 6th. So then that means you protect one of Lind, Gaudette, or Virtanen, or McEwen. But that means the other 3 are exposed. Yeah, that's a good question. If out of all those guys, I would protect Gaudette, and I would expose McEwen, Virtanen, and Lind. Fangirl, I only noticed after you mentioned the spamming, tried to help. Yep, no problem, Fangirl. Justin, Hoglander, work ethic and hustle will get better next year. Okay. Riley, Clay, even though I'm a Jets, Golden Knights, Hurricanes, Predators fan, I got your back. No problem, Riley. Thank you. Podkolzin had a 3-point game in Russia. Where do you see him fitting in the lineup? Rumax before today's signing, I think, what the heck? Try him with Podkolzin. Sorry, he is Podkolzin. Try him with Horvat and Hoglander. But I think now I could see him starting on the third line with a Mott and a Gaudette, or a Mott and a Sutter, or whatever. No, not Sutter, or Mott and Gaudette, perhaps. Rome, I'd like to hear Benning's reasoning for re-signing Pearson. I think a lot of people would, but we know what he's going to say. Leadership, low maintenance, Stanley Cup winner, all those things. Slapshot, what if Benning randomly flipped Pearson at the deadline? Yeah, that's kind of what I said. I don't think they did it with that intention, but who knows? Sammy, should we protect Lind over Gaudette in the expansion? I'm not so sure. I think even if you expose Lind, I don't know if Seattle's going to take him. Kind of unproven commodity, right? Jacob, hey Clay, how are you? Just got home from late practice. Cool. Thoughts on the COVID situation? The good news for the Canucks, no positive tests. The bad news overall is a record number of cases in BC. Very, very scary stuff. Lucas, with Pearson likely safe from expansion, would Ben Sutter or whoever had to be dangled to other teams who have expansion team protection woes? Yeah, and if it's not Ben or Sutter, I think, Lucas, I think some of the expansion drafts moves we're not going to see until after the trade deadline, because technically teams have until July to do those kind of moves. So the Canucks should take advantage of other teams that are going to be expansion draft trouble. I just don't know if we're going to see those type of moves. That foresight already on Monday, because you still have another 3 months to figure that out. Red house is made of red. The yellow house is made of yellow stone. What's the green house made of? Glass. Fangirl, if this outbreak didn't happen, what position would the Canucks be in? Purely speculation. If the outbreak didn't happen, I see what you're saying. They would be technically, by points percentage, they're in 5th. They're behind Montreal, but they're ahead of Calgary. Sebastian, hi Clay, how are you? $7 million for Petey and Hughes seem plausible. I think that's low for Pettersson and high for Hughes. I think Hughes is going to go somewhere between 6 and 7. The McAvoys and Werenskis of the world made 5, but Hughes is part of this batch with Makar, Dahlin, and Heiskanen. So maybe Hughes is 6 or 6.5, and Pettersson's a little bit higher, 7.5 or 8. I don't know. Depends bridge versus long term too, but I think everyone's thinking that it is going to be bridge. Slapshot, heard the racist comments and really ticked you off, but I'm glad you're okay. You have my back. Thank you, Slapshot. I appreciate that. No, I definitely felt the love over the past couple of days for sure. Edmund, I have a theory on who the spammers might have been, but I'm going to keep that to myself for now. Edmund, I wonder if Canucks fans would have been more ticked had we not resign Pearson and let him walk for another. Yeah, I think the best case scenario is you trade him for assets. The second scenario, I guess, would be to sign him for a number that makes sense. And third would be to lose him for nothing. Yeah. Rios, hey Clay, what's up? Are you nervous that someone might offer sheet PD? No, because the Canucks will find a way to match it for sure. I'm not nervous. Yeah, Justin, Calgary is pretty bad. I joked around that my ping pong game is regressing faster than the Calgary Flames. Lucas, I heard Seattle will have the last of the expansion fee payments off by the end of the month. Expect to see them start talking negotiations in early May. That's cool. Parker, Edmund, if they traded him on Monday instead of letting him walk for nothing, it would mean fine. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's another option. Yep. Fangirl, Benning could make a trade this deadline. Would you trade Sutter or Ben? I think you're getting more for Sutter, so I go him. Justin, fans will criticize if we walk to no-win situation. Pearson, we're signing ever. Trade Petey Gaudette for Eichel. Petey and Gaudette for Eichel. Gosh. Eichel's so good. I wouldn't though. I don't know. Maybe I'm too loyal to Pettersson. Hughes has something where his contract no one can offer sheet him, right? Yeah, he's called a 10.2C player. Basically, the way he was signed and the way he started playing. You're right. We won't get too technical, but Hughes cannot be offer sheeted. That is true. Yeah, John, when Brian Burke speculated that Petey Hughes was signed for identical term and money, I don't see it. Generally, forwards make more than defensemen, so I don't see them getting the same one. Edmund, can a player decline an offer sheet? No, it's out of a player's control. Jeff, trading Pearson would have been a smart move. I'm guessing the others were weak, but absolutely the offers were weak. It is definitely a buyer's market, even more so this year. Should Flames rebuild? Yes. Oh, Jeff, I didn't know a player could decline an offer sheet. That's good to know. Thanks for that. Do you think Ian Clark will be resigned? It's tough, Noah. It's tough. Obviously, he's a big part of the Canucks' success. By the way, you guys know my cousin Dusty. I'm loyal to him. Some really good press coming, media. I've seen 2 or 3 articles about Dusty helping Jack Campbell record. So I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, John, hot take, you're still here. So, yeah, the interesting thing is my cousin Dusty's getting credited with Jack Campbell's turnaround, and we see what Campbell's doing for Toronto right now. So that's kind of cool. I'm proud of my cousin, obviously. Would you have traded or re-signed Tanner Clay? If it was me, Joh Pi would have traded him. Hot take, Clay, how did you become such a legend? Takes one to know one. And which player would you want to acquire if you were GM of a buying team right now? Are the trade targets out there right now? Whoops, hold on. I think I just moved my whole camera. Give me a sec. Okay, that's some quality YouTube live streaming right there. Sorry, guys. What player would I want to acquire? Now I'm completely off center. Okay, do I go this way or do I go the other way? Okay, that's fine. I would go... Yeah, I don't know who's... Savard is up there, right? For trade bait. You know, who's the biggest trade bait right now? I'm going to look that up real quick. NHL trade bait. Trade bait list. Yeah, I do like Savard. Taylor Hall, I'm not sold on him. Hoffman's interesting to me. Foligno, Bernier. Yeah, you know, Ekholm. Yeah, for the defenseman, I think Savard or Ekholm. And then for forwards, maybe Hoffman. It kind of interests me. But yeah, I should be more prepared for that. Good question, John. But thank you for the compliment for sure. Coach Rob, would Benning had to check with the owners before spending the money on Pearson? Yes, my understanding is the way the Canucks operate is Benning has to run his money decisions by Aquilini. Fangirl, what would happen if the Canucks get shut down for the season? They would have to figure out where they end up placing and for NHL entry draft implications. Evash, do you think we should claim Nick Merkley off of waivers? No, I don't. I don't know much about him, to be honest with you. C edits, what do you think about Travis Green's future of the Canucks? I think they'll re-sign him. They just haven't yet, but I think they will. Now we're starting to see a bit of money flow, right? Demko, Pearson, so maybe coaches will be part of that as well. Yeah, Jeff, thank you about the clarification about declining the offer sheet. You're right. Technically, they do have to sign it. And you saw the articles on Dusty. Yeah, that's awesome. Edmund, wonder if Frederik Andersen's time as a Leaf is done with the emergence of Jack Campbell. Well, I think, and John, hot take, would have a better take on this. If the Leafs end up making a play for a goalie, then that will tell you about Andersen's health. But we'll see. We'll see. I think it's a mistake to judge for anyone to judge the future of the whole team on this season. Yeah, that's fair. It's a weird season. Avash, do you think PD's contract will be similar to Barzal since PD's agent same as Barzal? I think Hughes also the same agent. Yeah, they're in the same agency, if that makes sense. I think PD's going to get a tiny bit more than Barzal. What's the format of the playoffs this year? Canadian teams will play U.S. teams. Sebastian, take the 4 divisions. In the division, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. Each of the 4 divisions do that. Then the 2 winners play. So each division is going to produce one one conference finalist. So yes, there'll be one Canadian team in the Final Four for sure, whoever emerges from the North Division. But there's no such thing as Western and Eastern Conference this year. So you take the 4 division winners, those that escape out of the playoffs, and then you reseed them 1, 2, 3, 4. One plays 4, 2 plays 3. So you could see a Toronto, Colorado, for instance, semifinal. You could see a Washington, Tampa, or you could see Toronto and Colorado, for instance, meet in the final because there's no such thing as West and East. So it basically think each division's got to produce one winner. Those are reseeded 1 through 4, and then 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3, and then you have your 2 finalists. So I hope that makes sense. Joh Pi says sign Hoffman. Marcus, there's not really any livestock in Stevenston, so how did you become the GOAT? Very good, Marcus. If you mean GOAT as like the grayest of all time or the geezer of all time, sure. But thank you. I appreciate that. Noah, is it reasonable signing someone like Anthony Duclair if you can? I was advocating for that in the offseason. Betty Russell, or however you spell the name, is second round pick for Hall. And a 3 if Canucks make playoffs. If not, then a 5. Betty Russell, or however you spell his name, second. No, I think you're gonna need to do more than that. I think. Justin, if you're the GM of the Oilers, you get Hall just because of his luck winning with the first overall pick. Edmonds hopeful that Pearson bounces back. Fangirl, do you think the Canucks make a trade at the deadline? That's tough with Sutter's health. That is tough. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be tough for the Canucks to make a move, to be honest with you. They should try, but I'm also not going to freak out if it doesn't work. Edmund doesn't think it's a real season. Campbell and Rittich in Toronto. I'm not sold on Rittich. I like Campbell. You think we can get Bennett somehow? Yeah, I'm not sure, Marcus. I'm not sure. Do we want him? Rios, saw your tweet about the Asian hate. Hope that's just disgusting, bro. I hope you're good. Thank you, Rios. Yes, all good. For sure, I assure you. What do you think of the border situation regarding next season and projected divisions? John, they'll go, I think by next season, they'll go back to regular divisions. Avesh, do you think we will make any moves prior to Monday's deadline? I think it's going to be tough. If anything, it'll be a minor move. Like if you call moving Sutter for a draft pick or Ben for a draft pick a minor move, I think that could happen. It could, but I wouldn't bet on it. Hi Clay, what would you do if the Canucks? What would you do if the Canucks were to rebrand their logo jerseys? What would you do? Meaning, what emotion would I feel, or what would I actually do with the jerseys? I'd go back to the flying skate. Shannon, if the Canucks were to make a trade at the deadline, who do you think they will trade? I think it's going to be one of Sutter or Ben. Don't know what you'll get for the Sutter mid-round draft pick, Ben lower round draft pick. Mark, with how the year has gone and COVID flat cap, how do you think the trade deadline is going to go? I think it's going to be very quiet overall. We're starting to see a trade a day right now, but I think it's going to be quiet overall, especially for the Canucks. They just don't have a lot of bargaining power, a lot of leverage. Fangirl, is it a coincidence that both Toronto and Vancouver have a lot of dislike for Boston? No, I wouldn't say it's a coincidence. I'd say a lot of teams have a dislike for Boston. Buffalo does, Vancouver does, Toronto does, Montreal does. Sebastian, so they will allow cross-border travel for playoffs? Well, at least they have until June to figure that out. And maybe technically you could put the Canadian winner in a city in the U.S. to make it easier. But I don't know how well that will go received. Lucas, Clay, would you like to see playoffs based on 1-16, 2-15, 3-14 instead of based on conference? Not in a regular season, because I think the conferences and divisions, you have to have some sort of structure to create rivalries, geographical advantages, all those things. So no, I'm fine with the, in a normal year, I'm fine with the current playoffs setup. Coach Rob, when the Canucks start up again, do you think maybe they should play all their games in the East to cut down on travel? Yeah, it'll be interesting how they're going to make up the schedule, and you hope schedule makers will. Yeah, the Canucks are going to have to play 19 games in 30 days, which is pretty crazy. So any advantage or any concession they can get would help for sure. Do you think Ben gets moves at the deadline? I think perhaps Noah. Who is our backup goalie when Holtby is gone? DiPietro? Yeah, I think with one more year, I think they're hoping DiPietro can be the number 2, but they got to get him playing. D-Train, do you think anyone will trade with the Canucks with the COVID outbreak? I think it makes it a lot more difficult, that's for sure. C-Edits, assuming the Canucks come back and play the remaining 19 games, how many of those do you see them winning? 9. Not go 9-10 or 10-9 at the most. As much as I would love to see them strike some fear into Montreal, I just don't know what health they're going to be at. Do you think we play Lindgren once we come back and see what he brings? And if he plays well, then we protect him. Avash, that's true. The Canucks could play the long game here, the longer game, and basically audition guys before the Seattle expansion draft. I think that's possible, especially if not all the Canucks regular players come back to health right away. Metalhead, will we even participate in the trade deadline? We shall see. Adam, how are you? Hey, Clay. Hiya, Clay. How are you doing tonight? I'm doing great, Adam. I hope you're doing well as well. Thoughts on a bubble for the Final Four? I could see it happening. I don't think the players will be very happy with it. A lot of complaints last year, but if it's the one way to make sure it's safe and competitive, perhaps. Avash, if we come back, do you think PD plays the first game? Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. Because then it'll be basically 6 weeks since his injury. I hope so. But I haven't heard much, obviously, because the team isn't skating. Lucas says, I heard the playoffs may be in a bubble again. Yeah, I've heard that as well. Betty, Hughes, 7 years, $6 million. PD, $8 million, 8 years. Yeah, if you're signing them for that much longer, I think you're going to have to go more money, Betty. I think you go bridge and you can go a bit smaller money. Sebastian thinks the Canucks will be bad, but he's still going to watch. Noah, do you think the Canucks versus all teams next season, including U.S. teams? Yes. I think they'll go back to at least one home and away with certain divisions. And then I could see them going with these 2 or 3 game series to cut down on travel, though, next year within the division, perhaps. Shannon says, hit the like button. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. We're at 76 people here. We're at 23 likes. So let's get that like button, that like number moving up. Avash, do you think it's possible some guys do not come back prior to the season ending? Yeah, I could see that. They might just choose not to come back for health reasons, their own reasons. It'd be sad, but I certainly wouldn't blame them. Metalhead, you and Lego should make a podcast and call it Lego Clay Hockey Talks. The podcasting idea sounds interesting. Yeah. Maybe I should. As much as I like Lego, it might not be with him though. But I'll talk about that in about 8 minutes. Cole, we'll make the playoffs and win the cup. I like that optimism. Sebastian, like button, everybody. Thank you. Adam Hughes, 6 at 6.25. PD, 6 at 6.25. You're going that long. You're giving them more money, I think, Adam. Metalhead, I was saying this to Lego. He said he would love that. But scheduling is obviously very hard. Yeah. It is tough to do that, but I have much respect for Gio for sure. PD, $7 million, 3 years. That sounds a bit more right. Maybe that's still a little low. Betty, what payment methods do you take for CCC? Betty, if you're talking about the membership, I believe YouTube takes credit cards is what they do. You don't pay me directly. It has to go through YouTube. Or as some people do, you can donate directly in these chats as well, only if you want to. But Betty, if you're talking about becoming a member of this channel and getting some of those perks, I believe it's by credit card. And yeah. Gerp says, give Ulevy more playing time. Marcus, 1:40 a.m. right here. Got to go to bed. No problem, Marcus. Thanks for staying up for me. Barzell type deal. Yeah, similar. Perhaps John, PD, and Hughes bargaining power after a season like this, considering points production. Yeah, I still think it's strong. They know that they are the franchise players for sure. Fangirl, thank you for the donation. Appreciate that. Avash, do you think it is possible that the series type format continues for a while as a permanent thing? Yeah, I could see 2 or 3 game sets in cities now. Yep. Amrit, will Colin make the team next year? I think they're counting on it to help with some of the salary ramifications. If teams versus every team next season, I think they should travel to one city and play all the games needed. Yep, in the travel list. That's true. 2 or 3 game series for sure. Do you think Sutter should just retire? No, he won't just retire. I'm sure he still wants to play some hockey. My problem with Benning is he's the assistant GM of the Bruins when they beat us. That's what bugs me. He's helped winning a Stanley Cup against us, but that's also why we brought him in. Thoughts on Palmieri, Islanders, and Devils trade? Yeah, it makes sense. The Islanders in Palmieri and Zajac get 2 proven, solid veterans, and the Devils continue to build their prospect pool, and they got a first out of it, so I think that's a good trade for both teams. Nathan, I don't think the players have a choice to not return. Yeah, I wouldn't know about that. We know Travis Hamonic didn't go to the bubble, but yes. Scott, have you been asked to be interviewed yet on Donnie and Dolly? No, I haven't. I don't know if that request is coming. I think I do a great job, and as I joked around, we'd be like United Nations there with Donnie, Dolly, and me. But yeah, let's. We should petition them to get me on the show. Google Pay, credit cards. Adam, hey Clay, I'm joining the channel on April 21st, waiting for payday. Adam, that is very generous of you. Thank you. I look forward to that. Which Canadian team do you see going the farthest in the playoffs? I do see Toronto. I see Toronto or Winnipeg winning the North Division. Betty, Clay, house tour, please. Yes, I'd have to change the setup a little bit, stream off my phone. But yes, that could be a possibility for the summer. Do you think Chatfield gets re-signed? Not so sure, Noah. I think he's been up and down this season. But at least he'll be cheap. What's your opinion on the Myers contract? Too long, too much? Can a team from Canada win the Stanley Cup this season? Yeah. Once the playoffs start, anything can happen. And we know they at least have a 1 in 4 chance. All things being equal. Cody, do you think the Twitter reaction of people saying PD is going to get offer sheet is crazy? Seeing it all over Twitter and it's crazy. Yes, I think people are reacting to today's Pearson signing. I do not think PD will get offer sheeted. It's very rare. Do you think Levy becomes part of the active roster next season full time? I do, Noah. I could see the Canucks, if they don't bring Edler back, the Canucks could go with Hughes, Rathbone, and Levy. That sounds a little bit too inexperienced. But I do think he'll be in the battle for that the third pairing spot on the left. Do you think Edler is going to stay? I don't. I think he's either going to retire or he's going to stay. I don't think he'll go to another team. New Jersey said that they want the first round pick to be 31st because they want them to win a cup. That's right. Isn't it? Their pick gets better. I don't know all the conditions for sure. Also, with this COVID outbreak, do you see any deals, even minor ones, happening Monday? I think it's gonna be very tough, for sure. Opt out before training camps. Okay, thanks, Nathan. When would we hear about Travis Green contract? Whenever it's signed, that's when we would hear about it. Adam, who do you see leaving the team on before trade deadline? I know it's been discussed, but I joined up super late. No problem, Adam. Likely Sutter or Ben would be your likely, because Pearson, Sutter, and Ben were your likely candidates, and Pearson's probably off the table now. Edmund, yeah, Benning's 1-1. Demko good, Pearson not so good. Avash, after this offseason, do you think the tension will move to getting Besser re-signed? He is due for a contract. Yes, and he's at least at 7.5 because he was signed under the old CBA, so that's going to be tricky. Do you think the Schmidt contract is bad? It's not the best, but it's not brutal, and you got to think of what we gave up for him. Not a lot, so I think it was a good deal. The contract's okay. The better the team, the lower draft pick, indeed. Also, hey Clay, how are things? I'm great. Hope you're well. A little disappointed with the Pearson signing. Now we won't be able to sign Petey and Hughes to long-term deals this year. I don't think they were going to do that anyways, though, Arcel. Will the Canucks be the next Oilers? I hope not. What could we get for Myers? Nothing right now. Betty, if they do trade Pearson, it would be kind of funny. Where do you see Taylor Hall getting moved? I've heard Edmonton, and I could see anyone looking for a forward. I know Toronto's looking for a forward too, but I don't know what they would give up. Apparently, the asking price for Hall isn't that big. Keep Myers over Edler. I don't like the money for Pearson, but I like him as an influence. Yeah, and I think it's important. We shouldn't hate on Pearson for getting a good contract. If you have any hate or dislike, it should be for Jim Benning. What has happened with the playoff spot? Nothing yet, Samuel. We got to finish off the season. Do you think VC and Boyd don't stay with the Canucks? I think the next 2 months are going to have a big hand in that. Oh, Inferno, you are staying until the end of the stream. Okay, awesome, great. And Nathan's going, good night. And Clay, do you celebrate Gung Fat Choi? Sorry if I spelled it wrong. Yeah, I'm half Chinese, so we do celebrate Chinese New Year. Okay, that's good. That's at the 45-minute mark now. I think that's pretty good. So I will. I'm gonna skip questions only. That's silly. We've been doing questions only. I'm gonna skip Ask Me Anything for tonight because I do want to make the announcement now, and then I'll answer a couple questions about the announcement if you have any. So if you've been on Twitter today, you may, and actually even going backwards, on Tuesday night, I started, I dropped a couple hints kind of playfully that I was in the works of something and that, yeah, I just dropped a couple hints. They weren't like awesome hints or whatever, but I was kind of joking around. And then today, a good friend of mine, or he's quickly becoming a good friend, someone who I think is doing some really good work in the Canucks YouTube world, a gentleman by the name of ParkersPucks. Parker and I have decided to join forces to bring a good-looking young adult, that's Parker, and a good-looking old man, that's me, and we have joined forces for a brand new show on Monday nights, YouTube based. So it's actually gonna I would say it has a similar feel to this, but at least in concept, it's a 10 p.m. show. We're gonna start off once a week, and it's called Canucks After Dark. Yes, we love the name with no offensive connotations to it. Rather, it's at 10 p.m. It's pretty late. And I don't want to say too much because I want to save some stuff for what Parker and I are going to talk about on Monday on our first show. But that's what you need to know, is that Parker and I are starting a brand new YouTube show called Canucks After Dark. I'm going to put I'm going to put it, what we love you guys to do is go, as soon as we're done here, or you can do it now if you want to tune me out. We'd love you to go to the channel now and subscribe to the channel already and help us grow it. So I'm putting the link in the description in the chat right now. So you can go there now, or you can go there as soon as we're done. But yes, Parker and I, young, bright, articulate, good looking, up and coming, not even up and coming, I think he's arrived already. And we've been chatting a lot, we've been messaging a lot, we've been giving each other video ideas and affirming each other. So the good thing about Parker and I've always supported him from the start, because I saw him right when he only had like 100 subscribers, and I knew that he was onto something big. And at the same time, Parker has been very respectful to me as well, and we think this is going to be a lot of fun. We still don't know what we're going to talk about yet, especially the Canucks don't make any moves, but we'll figure it out. So all you need to know right now, starting this Monday, April the 12th, trade deadline day, from 10 p.m. to about 11, we're going to say roughly an hour. So basically the same time as this, every Monday night on our new channel, Canucks After Dark. Now we've kind of joked around about a couple bad slogans and sayings that we'll get some opinion from you on Monday night. But the biggest thing is we want you to join us. We want to add you to the conversation. We're not sure how we're going to engage everyone yet. We do know we're not going to start up a new Twitter, a new Instagram, a new whatever, because we don't want to dilute what we're doing, because what Parker is doing and what I am doing can already feed into Canucks After Dark a little bit. At the same time, it's going to have a distinct look, different look than what you're used to seeing from Parker and from me. So make sure you go to the channel, subscribe to that channel. You have a 1-minute channel trailer invitation on there. And I'm going to be talking about this a lot over the next 3 days on social media. I know Parker is as well. And I know we're both really excited. We're not trying to replace anyone. We're not trying to say that we're better than anyone. But what we think we can bring is a non-professional, but that doesn't mean non-quality, But we're not professional media guys. We're two guys who love to talk about the Vancouver Canucks. We're two guys who get along, and we're two guys that, it doesn't mean we agree with everything, but we think we're going to have a good chemistry, and we think we're going to bring a really good show to you guys. Okay? So I kind of blabbed about that for about 3 or 4 minutes. And I see some of you guys saying you subbed already. And that's awesome. Yeah, Parker, put your social media tags in the chat for sure. And I will go back and I will read all these comments later. But thank you. Yeah, we're very excited. We're very excited to see the way it'll go. And we're going to start off once a week. And if there's demand, or if some of the Canucks make the playoffs, and we want to do more, we will do so. But I think once a week. And the 10 p.m. thing, it wasn't because Parker does early. I like late, and I won because I'm older. No, it was because we think, especially once the Canucks are playing, if the Canucks happen to play on a Monday night, or let's say it's the playoffs and there's a West Coast game, they usually end, unless they go to overtime, by 9:30, 9:45. So at 10 o'clock, generally, the games will be over, whether or not it's the Canucks or not. Okay, awesome. Thanks, everyone. And Parker, I see you active in the chat, which is great. Looking forward to sharing this project, this initiative with you. And I will say this, I keep, we haven't even talked about what we're going to talk about Monday night, but I know some of the things we will likely talk about. This was Parker's idea, and it was Parker's brainchild. And I want to give him a lot of the credit because he's doing most of the work. I'll be very honest. And maybe we'll joke about that on Monday night. Parker brings a lot of really good skill set to the table, including his brilliant use of technology. I just bring my good looks and my connections and my contacts and my following, and I think it's going to be a really, really good partnership that way. And one other thing, and then Parker's probably saying, Clay, shut up, you're saying too much already. The way we have it set up, and it's a nice break from what I usually do on here, which is just me, which I enjoy. But and Parker even said to me that when he does his live streams, it's kind of tiring, or you want to keep up the interest level. So we thought the two of us talking with each other and to you would be a nice change, something different. But we're not going to necessarily bring in a bunch of guests, because why do we have to share the time? Parker and I are already sharing the time with each other. That's good enough. So don't expect us to bring in big media guests or anything like that. Rather, we want to really engage with all of you. Lastly, Parker's putting together an audio podcast component to it as well. So we aren't going to be doing specific podcasts or things for podcasts only, simply taking audio recording of our show like many people do. So if you're more of an audio listener and you want to listen that way, and you'd rather not see our good looking faces, I don't know why you would choose that, but or watch it live and then download the podcast Canucks After Dark, and you can listen to it again on Tuesday to make sure that the fire that you heard on Monday night was indeed legit and it was not a mirage. Okay, that's enough. I've ground my voice into the ground. Thank you everyone for being here. Parker, thanks for keeping up on all the comments in there. That's good. I will read all of them as I wind down here. So this is the time where it got a little crazy last time. So we'll see what happens. Thanks everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support, the early support for our Canucks After Dark initiative. Again, it starts on Monday night, April the 12th at 10 p.m. You saw the link. I'm going to put it in right now just in case you missed it the first time. Boom, there it is. So if you want to check that out now or as I wind down, make sure you head over there and give us a subscribe and be ready for us on Monday night. Okay, lots going on. No COVID tests. Talk of them coming back. Tanner Pearson gets an extension. And no one did a racist remark with me to me tonight, which is already a bonus. So my friends, thank you. No matter where you're watching from or what else you could be doing, I do not take you for granted, and I appreciate your loyalty as always. If you want to become a member of this channel, make sure you check it out. I'll be uploading my new membership video tomorrow morning. So if you want to hear the perks re-articulated, make sure you watch that membership video. And otherwise, I'll probably jump on. I know what I was going to say. Members, Sunday. Sunday is going to be our first ever members live stream of all 3 levels. So that's All-Star, Franchise, and Hall of Fame. So we're gonna go this Sunday night. I'm toying around with the time. Admittedly, I usually do the member live streams at 8, so I have a feeling I might stay with that 8 o'clock time, just so any East Coast members can join us. Besides, if I went Sunday night at 10 and then Monday night at 10, I might go crazy. Well, I wouldn't go crazy. I'm actually used to it. So members only live stream, all 3 levels, All-Star Franchise and Hall of Fame, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Pacific. I will send out the link on that morning. Okay, moderators, thank you. Thank you very much for the good job that you do. Thankfully, you didn't have to be that busy tonight, so that's pretty cool. Monkey9, thanks to them for always sponsoring these live streams. Parker, looking forward to working with you. And to everyone else in the chat, thanks for being here tonight. As always, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Like this video if you haven't liked this video already. Become a member of the CCC Crew if you haven't already. Now, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Have a great night. God bless, and go Canucks go. Booyah!